Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, no matter how them try run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Subscribe now.
I remember the days, all those years ago that never fade away. And I remember your face when you hit the ground. I can recall the time and place on the midnight walk through the old streets, trying to turn back the clock to the days of old, back to the days when all the things we knew were made of gold. As the world moves on, time sings a song. In the old neighborhood, as the clock strikes one, the memory lives just as it stood, like a quiet.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afridamos Report. I'm your host, Afridamos. I want to welcome all of you to another edition of the Afridamos Report. Audrey, welcome in the house. AB, greetings. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to be reviewing, a video by Franc Zanu. Very interesting conversation, by usual. But, this is a great observation of my own as well, because if you notice, for example, especially here in America, and you are seeing on the thumbnail, you would see, for example, people like Ilhan Omar, you know and people like Serena Williams. For example, like Serena Williams, like she totally, like, she bleached her skin. So she didn't only stop at bleaching her skin. She married a white man. So she is totally trying to escape her blackness, to a DNA level, right? And then you have someone like Ilhan Omar, for example, just like many other black women that admire white people. For example, when they see, like, they would say things like, oh, white is the standard of beauty. But who told them that? Or they would say things like, they hate us because of our blackness. But the question has to be, how did you come to that conclusion? What is it about you that whenever people, for example, disagree with you, or you don't like something, you said, they don't like me because of my blackness? There has to be something in you that sees that blackness as not good, not beautiful, you know? Even the first lady, former first lady, what's her name? Michelle Obama. I've seen videos of Michelle Obama several times crying about white flight. They have what they call white flight, where, the same people, they cry and say, oh, white people are dangerous, they are racist. But entire neighborhoods where, like, white people, when the blacks move in, the whites would leave. And the blacks, especially the black women, they would cry. I saw another news, I think last year or so, in New Orleans. Their mayor is a woman. The same thing, the whites want to move away from the blacks. The black women are like, no, no, they don't want that. But at the same time, they said they hate white people. So this video is going to, break that down, so that you understand the science of it. And I know some people are going to say, oh, what about in Africa? Well, in Africa too, you would see, where people actually, they admire whiteness over there too. Some, the women, they bleach their skin. And in the latest thing, this is not only in America, it's more pronounced here because in America, they have close proximity to white people. So this is why you see a lot of blacks, like in America, are a lot more angry at white people because they want to be white. They look at white people their whole life. That's what they admire. This is why they would say to you, you will never be white. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, why would a white black person, another black person looks at another black person and say to them, you would never be white? Like, have you ever asked yourself, where is that psychology, that thought process coming from? Why do this individual think that you are striving to someday be white? They can never explain that to you. So there's a psychology behind it because they see white as superior and beautiful. So to a point where when they see white and they feel like they can never be white, they resent it so much. This is why you see so many like black women, they're running around, they have blonde hair on, bleach their skin because it's the psychology, but none of them are able to explain it. You take even Ilhan Omar, for example. Ilhan Omar runs around hating on white people. She claims she hates white people, but her husband is white. Serena Williams is the new Michael Jackson. I mean, have you guys seen her lately? She is going all the way out. And before people start saying anything, I want you to understand this is a lecture, for people because I'm into understanding the psychology of things. I don't deal with, you know, things like, oh, this is how it should be or fantasize. No, I deal with what is in front of me, what I'm seeing, what's already taking place. Like, if you look at it, for example, I don't know if you guys heard about it. There's a Russian guy, that went viral. Apparently, like this guy, he went to Kenya and Ghana, and he would, like record picking up these women, different women, and they're saying that the guy is spreading HIV. And all these other Africans, they came online crying, talking about, oh, they this guy came and violated our women. But what I'm looking at is the psychology behind it. Have you ever asked yourself why was the white man able to do that? That's the part that people run away from. They run away from that, because they don't want to admit what is in front of them, because many want to escape their blackness. They just want to. So let me see some of the comments here. So, Black Americans are not white inside. It is the Africans. Africans, any Black American can attest. Now, that's not what we see here. It is like in America. In America, for example, when you don't act rowdy, but your skin is black, they would, or you speak proper English, they would say, "Oh, you think you're white?" You know, the white eyes is better if you behave well. They call it whiteness. Even the beauty, they would say, oh, it is white beauty standard. So even, for example, let's take someone like Halle Berry. Halle Berry, she's half white, right? And the blacks will celebrate because even the blacks, they gravitate towards mixed people. If you're like black skin, 100% black like me, oh, forget it. Do you know, like, even Obama, why they elected Obama as president? Because he's half white. Jesse Jackson, who just passed away, he ran for president before. He didn't break even single digit. The black women would not endorse him. But when they brought Obama, a half white, now they trusted him. Imagine if a mixed person says, oh no, I'm not black, I'm mixed. Oh, they lose it. I mean, you see this even amongst Africans. For example, the Egyptians, like the North Africans, clearly they are not Negroes. They are not black. In the African Cup of Nations, when the Moroccans, were getting hated on, even though this is supposed to be African Cup of Nation, all the dark-skinned people came together. The Negroes came together to hate on Morocco because of their skin color. They want to force the Moroccans to identify as African. So you notice they would never, for example, let's say, their fellow dark-skinned countrymen. If those people say, "Oh, I'm not black," they wouldn't care. But if a light-skinned person say, "I'm not black," they lose it. Exactly, like Dominican people. Clearly, you can see and look at most Dominicans. They are not black. You can see it. But if a Dominican person says they are not black, blacks here get very offended because they want proximity to that whiteness. So now the women, most of them have figured a way out. They're like, you know what? We're going to find ourselves a white man. Because some of them get lucky, like Eve. I mean, not all of them can get this white man, by the way, because as you can see, the Epstein files came out, right? The black women were offended that Epstein said, no, he didn't choose them. Imagine a pedophile not choosing you. And people are online getting offended. You see, blacks make fun of blackness. This is why when even a white person says, oh, you look like a monkey, they lose it. They lose it. Someone here says, no one cares if Morocco is black. The Morocco says they are not. But they are not black. Why are you offended? You can clearly see that they are not black. You can clearly see it. I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys. Maybe you guys are looking at different Moroccans, but the Moroccans that I've been to Morocco, by the way. I've seen Moroccans there. Yes, Morocco is situated in Africa, but they are not black. That's just, they are not sub-Saharan. And I'm sure that you guys are going to come, oh, why do you say sub-Saharan? Because the countries that are below the Sahara, Negro land, all the Negro lands in Africa are below the Sahara. So that doesn't mean that, you are less than. It just means your location is below the Sahara. That's all that is. Nothing else. Serena Williams married a white man, bleached her skin, wearing blonde wig. Her sister Venus is following in her footsteps as well. So, and also the woman that you're about to see here that's going to have the conversation with Frank Zanu. I mean, this conversation is very interesting. I mean, it's eye-opening. It would get you to see the things that you refuse to see. Or maybe you don't, when you see people exhibit those behaviors, you don't understand it, maybe this will help you understand it. It's like it's conditional. I mean, if have you seen how in America they approach mixed kids? Is different. If those people dare say they are not black, it's a wrap. They are in big trouble. But in reality, they are not. Right? Halle Berry, she won the Grammys. And do you guys know what type of speech Halle Berry gave? Halle Berry said, yeah, even though I won, this Grammy, I am going to wake up black tomorrow. Like in a sad way. What does that tell you? So that means that Halle Berry is saying it is sad to be, it is sad being black. And you would hear a lot of black people saying this. Like she is saying it like, oh yeah, even though I won, I would wake up tomorrow being, I'm going to be black. What is wrong with being black? So that's what we're going to get into here. I don't want to keep you guys waiting. So let us get straight into, the conversation here with Frank Zanu. And, I would stop in between when necessary. So I give my commentary. You guys know how I do it over here. You guys see it. Oh, before I forget, another white worship. You guys know this, the FBA group, FBA. You know how the FBA, they say, we are delineating from Africans, but you see, they cannot confirm their delineation until they say, when they were mentioned, like acknowledged by a white organization, white newscast, go and see how the FBA people are celebrating that. So just amongst themselves to say delineation means nothing. But when white person acknowledged it, which is Tucker Carlson, they claim Tucker was racist, but just to say the FBA people celebrated it. So I notice a lot of the tantrums and all the crying that they do is because they want to be white. They want white people to acknowledge them. The moment white people acknowledge them, they stop crying. It's like a child crying, meh, and then the moment they put pacifier in their mouth, they start sucking and stop crying. So I want you guys to hear this conversation here. Get the likes up so that other people can come and join this beautiful lecture we're about to have. All right. So that's Frank Zanu, as you guys know. So let me start here.
And has some world travel stories, observations, and she couldn't wait to say, I'll come to ZPR and engage you so we can inform or, if anything at all, activate a new way of looking at things. So, Elizabeth, welcome to ZPR.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. I heard from you were in South Korea.
I was. So in December, end of November throughout December, I did some travels in Asia. I went to Taiwan, to South Korea, and also to Japan.
Gee.
Yeah.
Total, like how many?
So, if you're new here, just so you know, these programs here is to help you elevate yourself. It's like someone is saying, oh, diaspora war. It's not war. This is edutainment. It's for you to be aware of some of the things that's been bothering you. Because some of you truly hate being black. So if I can help uplift you so that you understand that there's nothing wrong with being black. But that doesn't mean, we're not going to point out the sickness, because this is a real sickness. So my job here is to point that out so that, you can stop walking around envying white people and hating white people. You didn't create your skin color. The white people didn't create their skin color. So the show here, the program, is to try to elevate you mentally. That's what it's about. Okay? Because you would never be white. So, and it doesn't mean that, being white is right or wrong. That's just nature. You being black, that's just your nature. Nothing wrong with it. It's just a skin color. But deep down, you think white is more beautiful than black. The lady that you see her. I don't know if that's her real hair, but she is shooting for white. That's what's happening here. So let's continue.
Weeks.
About 3.5 weeks.
Nah, that is an immersion.
It was definitely immersive. I really enjoyed my time there. Yeah.
Your skin is banging.
Yeah, that's South Korean beauty products and genetics as well.
South Korean beauty products, people talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
And of course, genetics.
Genetics,
right?
of course. Yeah. Thank you, Grandma.
Wow. Now, I know for one whole month, the food, you might think it's a short time, but you get used to the food. How did you get back to the heavyweight?
So, as we all know, we have a lot of preservatives in our food. We do a lot of processing and things like that. And so when you go to other countries and you eat that food and then you come back to the US, I personally get sick. So pizza is my favorite food ever. I love pizza all the time. Every day I could eat pizza. Okay. So when I was coming back, the first thing I wanted to have was pizza, or I'm also from LA, so some tacos, right? Tacos were fine, but the pizza messed me up.
Happy because of the density of the
cheese
fat.
And the fats and all of that. So it really messed me up. I noticed too, the food there, it's light, right? So if I want to just have a little taste of something here and then 2 hours later taste here and go to this place and try this street food, I can.
Because they have a lot of street food.
They have a lot of street food and smaller portions.
Small portions, especially Korea. And you were in Seoul.
I was in Seoul and Busan.
Of course, you have to go to Busan.
You have to go to Busan. Yeah. It was winter though, so it wasn't fun because it's beach town.
And that place is cold.
Freezing. But it was beautiful. People were so kind and welcoming. I ate at a lot of kind of mom and pop places. So
I love those places.
Got to practice my Korean.
Yeah, I love those places.
Yes.
Wow. Well, welcome back. And
thank you.
Before you seen the snow in Connecticut, right? We had 2 feet high. So when you left LA, what was the temperature like?
Temperature was mid 70s in Fahrenheit.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a heavy topic. I would say I am a descendant of slaves just because, for example, my mother, my father, they both have, my grandparents, they have stories from hearing things on the plantation or experiencing things. Family, their parents were sharecroppers or former slaves and all that sorts of stuff. So I have history of being a descendant of slaves, but my immediate grandfather on my mother's side is from Trinidad and was an immigrant here in the U.S. and landed in L.A., all of that stuff. I do have a unique perspective. I also was an immigrant as well. I lived in a few different countries myself.
So you see yourself as a Black American?
Black American, that's correct.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. And here's a Beninois American. So you see the beauty of this country. So you said, yes. What is the part of Black in America that troubled you so much that in your trouble you said, why can't we just be like, what is it?
You know what? There are a few things. And I would say the one that stands out the most is, one, everyone's Black unless you're clearly not Black. So in other countries, for example, let's just go with England because they're a parent country, right?
Okay.
So in England, if someone has an Jordanian father and a Jamaican mother, they are mixed race.
Yes, and they call it half caste.
Yes, right?
That's right.
South Africa has an entire population of colored people because that essentially means we are mixed race,
That's
right?
correct.
So as you guys can hear, she's, they're going through the different racial categories. In the US is totally confusing. So they say 1 drop rule, right? Even if you have 1 drop of Black, you're Black. It's like being Black is a one-way street. You just gotta, if you got 1 drop, that means you're Black. But you see, the Blacks themselves are the ones accepting and holding on to those rules. In South Africa, you guys heard the lady that called here in the last show. She is of the category called colored. meaning the mixed people. So they're in the colored, and you have the actual Africans like Zulu, Xhosa, and the different tribes, right? So there's no confusion. So you look at it like the blacks here in America, for example, they would say, "Oh, Africans don't want to be black." What do you mean the African doesn't want to be black? Like they would say, Africans would say to them, "I am not black." Now, when they say to you, for example, if I say to you, "I'm not black," I'm not talking about skin color. I'm talking about culturally and what you identify as, meaning the Africans who were brought here from different ethnic groups, during the transatlantic slave trade, they were stripped of their actual identity. So their offsprings, which is the new blacks, don't know, their actual, identity, their real group, their tribe, their ethnicity. They don't know it. So therefore, the white man classified you as the blacks, right? Meaning someone who doesn't know their ethnic group. But now, if you come to somebody else who know their ethnic group, and you are using your master's category, saying that person has to identify as that, and this is a free person who knows their identity, now that's a problem, because it means you want everybody to identify as the identity that your master gave you. Because when you say black, now you are identifying by color. If you ask me my skin color, I would say, sure, it's classified as black. And even in Africa, people from where I come from, people know that they are black. We have it in our language. People know this. But in America, black is different. Black is an entire group with different cultural, practices than Africans. These are the offsprings of the first Africans they brought here. But it doesn't mean the people are distancing themselves from it. But if you've been under massa for so long, obviously it makes sense to want to be like your master. So when you see another black person who they have dark skin, but they are saying, no, I'm not black, they get offended. They're like, oh, so you think you're better, huh? Because they are tying it to slavery history, which is what it's not. I mean, if you come from that lineage, you can never, you can never overcome it. That, you didn't put yourself in that situation, and it doesn't mean you are less than. You see? Audrey said Blackfoot Indians too. Yes, I'm half Blackfoot. But here, let's hear more. Let's hear this.
We are mixed with multiple things. We have a long lineage of being mixed race.
Okay.
In the US, we do not think that way. Everyone is black, right? Zendaya, black. Yardi Shahidi, black.
Colin Kaepernick,
Black. J. Cole, black. Everyone is Barack Obama, black, right? And so even though it's beautiful that we are a very accepting people, it actually has done some detrimental things, I think, because now
There you go. So you would hear these terms also used, where blacks would disguise their admiration as, we are just accepting group. No, that's not true. You just admire that. You want that proximity to it. Do you guys see how when a black woman is able to find a white man to marry them, how do black women, they celebrate it? Oh, they would celebrate it till the cows come home. But how does it go if a black man marries a beautiful, real blonde snow bunny woman? buttermilk skin. You've got someone who literally, not only the black women, the hyper black, the people that consider themselves the gatekeepers of blackness, like let's say somebody like Dr. Umar. He would run around here and say, oh, snow bunnies never, black queens forever. That's because they think they want to overcome the blackness. And the complaints only apply to the men because they want to control the men. Most of them, I think, just see the men as second option. I know people are going to disagree, but that's what this show is all about. Okay? Don't feel bad. Don't feel like, I'm saying there's something wrong with you. That's just how you see the world. African goddess say, race is socially constructed. Who's black and who is not varies from society to society. Yes, you're right about that. But here in America, it is definitely confusing. If Kaepernick, do you see what Kaepernick looks like? I mean, how is Kaepernick? Now I see why the blacks think that the people in North Africa should be considered black because of Kaepernick. I think, I might be wrong, but this must be investigated. I think Kaepernick is a North African, but I could be wrong. I think he might be Egyptian. But here we go.
Accepting people is not the reason.
Well, in accepting, it's not accepting them just purely to accept them. It's saying you're black and we're welcoming you to the black community, right? You have black lineage, so you're welcome to the black community. And I think it's done some detrimental things in shaping what it is to be black in America, because now someone like me or someone else who is a descendant of slavery, has lived here for generations, and doesn't have white, is
the child of, I don't know if they have a child yet, Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have a child, I don't know if they have. So African Americans would call that child black?
Yes. And you know what the interesting thing is? So for example, Tia and Tamara, I don't know if you're familiar with the twins. So they have I believe, white father, black mother, and they consider themselves black. They then, one twin married a white man and has children. Those children are a majority white, right? Because her lineage and the father's lineage would make the children majority white.
Yeah.
But only us in the black community would consider them still black. No other race would do that. So if there was a white parent and a black parent, so for example, Tia, Tamara married the white man, Tia married a black man, her children are majority black. We would never say they were white, and white people would never accept them as white because they're a majority black. And so it's just something that.
So you see the confusion here? So what she's saying, those twins, Tia and Tamara, they are half white. And one of them married a white man. So now their child is going to come out more white. So she's half white, married a white person. So 50 plus 100% white. So now the child is obviously white. But no, the blacks would say, no. Master said, one drop rule, that child could be as white as snow. And they would say, oh, it's black. So it's confusing. But that same child, if they go to Africa, my part of Africa, they would be considered in their right category as white. You see where the confusion comes in? That's where the confusion comes into play. But the blacks accept it because the blacks want to have that proximity. But to be fair though, mostly the black men in America, majority, they would reject they would reject that. It is the black men will reject this, majority black men, but it is the black women. Because you see, notice when there's a community, who runs the black community? The black women. They're the ones filled with the white fetish. They're the ones that bring that in. The black men reject it, but the black women admire the whiteness more. So here we go.
Is interesting in our community that I think we need to
Very
address.
interesting.
Yeah.
I had an episode.
So it makes sense that the white slave master in America empowered the black woman over the black man, because the black woman is the one upholding all the slave rules, the one drop rule, and all of that. They're the ones that are upholding that. You could be as white as snow, and they would accept you if you say you are black. They're like, oh my God, he is black. But you notice the same people who tell Africans and others, man, you are tether, you are not black. So you notice what I said in the beginning? It's not about the skin color. Because if they look at me and say, oh no, you are not black, but Kaepernick is black, what is the real definition? What type of definition are they using? Ask yourself, what definition are they using? But the same people would also say, why wouldn't a Dominican who's clearly majority are not black, they are mixed. They want those people also to identify as black, but they would call an original African from Africa darker than the blacks, most blacks, and say, no, you are not black, but Kaepernick is. What criteria are they using? What's the criteria here? Is it cultural or skin color? Oh, they would say Mariah Carey is black, but I'm not black. What is the criteria? Do you guys see what I'm explaining, what I'm trying to break down here? So, the people that say, oh, I did my DNA test, it said I'm from around Nigeria, X, Y, and Z. But you notice how, in their DNA, it might say 30% English or German. So what happened to the 30% or the 50%? They would pretend like that doesn't exist. Oh, I'm 100% African. No, you're not. What happened to your other percentages? You see what I'm saying? They want to dilute and it's like, to me, it's a scam. It's a scam. Like they would say to you, oh, I'm 100% African. Oh, I'm African. But your DNA said here 30% English or 40% German. What, you don't want to go visit your German ancestral land? Why is everybody gotta say, no, I'm 100% African? So just something I observed.
On it, and I talk about when they started referring to Barack Obama as the first black president.
Mhm.
I said, wait, Barack Obama is black. What am I? I started looking at my skin. And how about the Sudanese president, who is darker than the color behind us, right?
Right.
So, nobody, we like it when they toss those people into our mix. We like it, but that is a very good observation. Other places, I never thought about the other places. Yes, you're right. Now, where else, the other place that if your parents are of two different race, then you're not black? Africa.
Yes.
Africa.
Yes.
And we make no qualms about it.
Mhm.
In fact, Ghana had a revolutionary leader for 20-something years. His name was John Rawlins. Pure mulatto, and that's what we called him until he passed away. And he even referred to himself. He would say, I'm a half caste. The mother was a full-blown Ghanaian woman, and the father was a Scottish. Bob Marley,
Bob
nobody
Marley.
ever said, "Oh, yes, nationality Jamaican,"
He's
but they never
Jamaican.
considered him black. They knew.
Correct. Yeah.
And so you're very right about why that is the case with other places. Yes, Africa is the number one. Yes, your father is not white or your mother is black. No, we know you're not black, and we would say that to you.
Yes.
All right, so let's come to the problem that you said. That's one of the problems. But what is it about the entire black lifestyle that you said is being looked down outside everywhere we go? People just can't sit comfortably with it. What is it?
That's what I would like to explore, because I also don't know. I feel that as a Black American, when I go into spaces, I'm representing all Black people.
Exactly.
And I shouldn't have that burden.
That's correct.
Because if a white person does something, they're only representing themselves. If an Asian person does something, everyone else is only representing themselves. I'm representing my entire race. That's a little ridiculous. And I also would say too, even within the Black community, like growing up, for example, I speak the Queen's English, if you will, right? I speak with pronouncing all of my words. I have some type of sort of plain diction where you can understand me. Of course, I can speak in slang and all of these sorts of things and colloquialisms and all of that. But when I'm in a professional setting or I'm trying to communicate myself in a way that I want people to understand, I do want to speak very clearly. And so I grew up hearing, "You talk white."
Oh.
What does that mean, though? Are we saying white people are more intelligent and more well-spoken than we are? Because what's that about?
She's right. Here, did you guys see exactly what I was saying? She's correct. When a Black person speaks English properly, imagine they're in English-speaking country, they will say, "Oh, you're being white." Like when someone speaks truth, they will say, "Oh, you're trying to be white." So it is Blacks themselves that condition themselves and other Blacks to see the world that way. Because again, I understand what she's saying. When she goes to places, she feels like she's carrying the burden of all Blacks, because Blacks here, everything they say, as a Black person, they push forward that Blackness, So if you lead with that, that eventually becomes the burden on you, because you are telling everybody that you are here to represent all the Blacks. So that's a lot of burden that's to carry. So I get where she's coming from. But is that her job? No. But that's just how Blacks condition each other to do. This is why you would see Blacks would come out and, defend criminals, because they want to identify as that person. So that's a lot of burden to carry.
Well,
What's that about?
now don't raise that question. See, this week while I was preparing with you, I wrote these names down, right?
Mhm.
There is a gentleman by name Andre Williams. He has a podcast on YouTube.
Okay.
Elizabeth, show after show, he declares it. I'm ashamed to be Black. I hate Black people. Black is the problem. He's a Black guy.
Wow. Okay.
His whole episode, each one, is just saying, we are a problem. This is the problem. He says it clear. I don't like being Black. I'm ashamed of being Black. And he goes on to talk. Nick Fuente appeared on the Cartier Family podcast. You must listen to the things this guy said. The way he sees Black people and the way he hears white people sees Black people, why that is the case. Another one, of course, is H.L. Hughley, okay? And of course, Charleston White. All of them speaks against. Do you know? But when I go to the comment sections of Andre Williams, Black people are there.
Agreeing.
Agreeing.
I know.
Now, changed the name from Andre Williams to Kofi Sado of Ghana, who is saying this. The same people agreeing with him would turn on Kofi from Ghana and call him a thither.
Exactly. He's talking about tether. He's correct. So he's giving the example. You got Charleston White, D.L. Hughley, and a whole host of other black people saying the same thing. So if a Ghanaian person says it, or someone like me says it, or Frank, now all of a sudden they are tethers. They turn against us and say, "Oh, how dare you say it?" That's because they've been conditioned to believe that they are supposed to be superior to Africans. But when they realize they are not, so he hits them so hard, like, how dare an African speaks on, observe something about us and says it. They would only embrace you if you play dumb, like you don't understand, you do the National Geographic of African, then yes, oh, they would love you. This is why you hear a lot of them say, "Oh, we love the Africans in the continent, but the Africans in America are coons." What makes them coons? Have you met all Africans? It's because, okay, you've been shown. The Africans on the continent probably don't know much about you, but the Africans here, they are living here. They can see. So even the ones that don't even speak on it, preemptively, the blacks preemptively would just say things about them. They'll be, "Oh, the Africans think we are lazy." Which Africans have been telling you that? "Oh, I met an African who said it." So now that African you met, the person is from Africa or some country, now it's a representation of everybody in Africa. So, but I get it. It's a preemptive defensive mechanism, because I mean, we are all humans. People got eyes. Man, when you go and stand in front of the mirror, you know what you are seeing. You know what you're seeing. And if you are so defensive, when you already know other people can see it too, and before they say it, you want to attack them. You turn it into, like, how dare you trust your lying eyes? That's what it is. Why would you trust your eyes? You shouldn't trust your eyes of what you are seeing. So yes, the Africans on the continent are not seeing the reality here in America. But the people accusing the Africans here of being coons, they know the Africans that live here can see how the dynamics are here in America. That's what it is, nothing else. But it's not Africans going around attacking any black. The only crime is to dare observe and see behaviors for what it is. That's all what it is.
Take what Charleston White says about black people and say Zanu said it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're giving him all thumbs up, as soon as it's Zanu who is saying it. They are calling me I'm on the payroll of a white supremacist. I'm a CIA plant. I'm a goon. Is that what? Yeah. Because I'm not on a platform pointing fingers to the white man and calling him and cussing him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I would have gotten 1 million followers or subscribers by now. So
he's right. So he's saying they're calling him all kinds of names. CIA, yeah. Just like the example I gave you. And if he were talking up against whites, the victimhood, oh yeah, he would get 1 million. Even myself here, if I was talking against white people, man, they would share the video. They'll be like, man, did you see that African brother? Oh my God, man, he on code. Oh man, he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, that's when they would say, you know what you're talking about. But if you point out what other blacks themselves have seen and pointed out, they will call you all kind of names. They would say you're a white supremacist. So let's get to it.
Poor people, and this is just a few of them.
Right.
Many black people, affluent ones and all that, Larry Elder and all, are saying enough is enough. We have to look inside. And I haven't heard. Now, if Larry Elder had said the same thing, but he was a Democrat, oh boy, then WCP gives him an award the next week.
There lacks a level of accountability and consistency, I think, in the Black community, because there are some things that we discuss publicly that should be private and vice versa. And I also think we also don't hold each other accountable. So for example, if someone is from the continent of Africa saying these things, because I've had friends who immigrate from, let's say, Nigeria, right?
Mhm.
And they'll say, what's up with y'all? Why do you act this way, right? What is going on here? I've never seen such separated community, right? And then I try and have a conversation and we talk and all of these things. I never condemn them because they immigrated here and they're observing.
That's correct.
If anything, they're more accurate because they're from the outside looking in.
Oh man, thank you. Thank you. See, when you stand too close to the mirror, you don't see your image properly.
You don't.
Sometimes the person. Now, I want to talk to African Americans. When you own that thing, I'm an African American. Well, the people who gave birth to you, those were my ancestors. So when I'm in a country where they were brought to, the reason I can't find them is because they changed their names.
Yes.
So you don't have a monopoly on a slave who gave birth to you.
Okay.
They took them from us. So when I'm here, I'm in the family of my own people, because my country, Benin Republic, Ouidah, to be specific, in Port Novo, were the largest place.
So Frank is hitting a point here. So when the blacks, you notice, they orderize Africans. So the reason why, because the lady point said, oh, some things we keep it inside. So that means the blacks see themselves separate from the Africans, which is, through its different culture, right? But they get offended because, for example, they'll be like, oh man, we can say this around white people. But they would say, oh, we are Africans. Like they would say they're Africans, they gotta go to Africa. But an African, like Zanu, myself, others, we are not allowed to speak on black issue because apparently that makes us white supremacists. So they contradict themselves. So the blacks are like caught in a hard spot. They're in a hard spot because the only way you are their people is if you tell them what they want to hear. So Zanu is saying, you don't have monopoly over this. The slaves that they brought here came from us in Africa. The only difference is your name have been changed. That's all. But you were brought from there. So here we go. Unless the ones that say they are Indians. We're not speaking on those people.
The Haitians, for example, largely came from Benin Republic. Okay, so Benin is one of the center of slavery.
Yes.
Wycliffe Jean have to go there to declare the port of return, and the United Nations supported slave site. So I am here, I'm feeling it more, looking at you and can't even tell. Could she have come from my mother's tribe? What her name could have been.
Right.
And African Americans have the nerve to say, I can't speak about people who were taken from my tribe, and I'm living among you just because your name now is a Black American?
Yes. But this goes back to my original point of welcoming everyone into the culture, because now we don't know our identity because we have constantly redefined what it is to be Black by allowing mixed race people or people who, just of not of origin become part of the community. And I'm not saying we shouldn't welcome them. We're all humans. We should all be welcoming to each other, right? But
the thing is, it is blacks have no power over determining who is black and who isn't. They are going by the white slave masters criteria. Let's just call it what it is. You are going by the white slave masters criteria. It is not blacks determining who is black and who isn't. It is the white slave master determining that. Whoever they say is black, that guess what? That's they are black. I mean, because if how come in Africa, if you're mixed, if you're like one of your parents is white, you're considered half caste. It doesn't mean that people are against you, but they acknowledge that you are mixed because clearly they can see it for themselves and, you know, determine the criteria. But in America, blacks did not determine that. They didn't have the power to determine that. So now, instead of white people that came up with that law to enforce it, they don't even have to do it. It is the blacks themselves that hold onto that law and push it. For example, when Tiger Woods, who is clearly mixed, said he was in black and he acknowledged being mixed, oh, the blacks shunned him. They are like, how dare you not follow the rules that Massa put in place? I don't think most of the people that even are saying they're fighting, you know, mental slavery, colonialism, they are actually the ones, the colonial and slave police. They don't even realize it, because the rules and laws they get mad at about, those were the laws made during, you know, put on slaves, and, you know, the laws put in place by colonialists. So if you have the same skin color and you are like, no, 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 I don't follow that rule, they are like, oh, you a sellout? What? You a sellout? What? You don't want to do what Massa said? And they don't even realize it, because Tiger Woods' mom is from Thailand. So the man is telling you, no, 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 I'm Caucasian, you know, whatever he came up with, right? The blacks are like, how dare you acknowledge the race of your mother, even though we can see and look at you, you look more like Asian. But Massa said you black. Massa said you black. Why aren't you doing what Massa says? Yeah, that's why you see all these people, even Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar is the biggest slave police patrol master. He's like the sheriff. He doesn't even know. He's like the sheriff, but he's a Pan-African, because Dr. Umar would beat down on somebody like Tiger Woods. So that means Dr. Umar doesn't know who is black and who isn't. He is using the slave masters' rules and laws on Tiger Woods to say, oh, no, 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 Tiger, how dare you not identify as what Massa say on the plantation? But they say, oh, look at Dr. Umar, man. He knows what he's talking about. No, 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 no. Dr. Umar is the slave patrol. He's the slave patrol. Any slave that leaves the line, Dr. Umar would come for you. Yeah, a lot of the slave patrol, I mean, like, they would tell you, oh, the police are the slave patrol. No, 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 no. The slave patrol is no longer white. It's the blacks themselves. They are the real slave patrol. But they don't even know it. But let's continue here.
In redefining what it means to be black, that's causing a lot of issues.
Why we welcome them.
Okay, what do you think?
Because they have half white in them.
But what about the people who are not half white, like Naomi Osaka?
That's why we kill them all the time. In Southside Chicago, in Detroit, in Baltimore, we shoot the dark ones that look like us without any white in them.
Bingo. Man, Zanu hit it right on the head. He's right. Have you guys noticed that all these shootings in the hood that you see? He's right. They are usually dark. You're not gonna see, half-breeds getting shot because the blacks love the half-breeds. But the darker you are, the more likely you're gonna get shot. Zanu is correct. I mean, if you don't, I mean, just go look at the shootings in these hoods around America and look at the pictures. They are dark skinned. The darker you are, the quicker they will take you out. So here we go.
The reason we were attracted to Obama and not Jesse Jackson is because he has white in him. What we are accepting is not his black side.
We're accepting the white side.
That's correct.
So what about Barack Obama and his whiteness makes us feel that he's going to do something different?
No, not what he was going to do.
Okay, so
the same way you accept Colin Kaepernick because he has white without questioning his behavior. You accepted him. Why didn't you accept Jesse Jackson? He was a legend. He marched with MLK. He was with Abernathy. He was with Andrew Young. He was with all these legends who fought for the civil rights and got beaten. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward 1984 or 94, he said, I want to run for president. Only white people lined up in Iowa when he arrived.
Yeah, but he did have a lot of support in certain regions with certain black people.
Yeah.
So, for example, California, he had a lot of support.
Because that's California. You don't even call it a black state anymore. But I'm saying the reason suddenly, after the legend, twice he attempted, and you wouldn't even hear it anywhere. But as soon as the mulatto said, I'm running, the same thing you do with the one drop people that you pull in and say, no, Tiger Wood is white. When Tiger Wood redefined what he wants to call himself, Cablination, they killed him in the black community. He said,
exactly. Did you guys see the points I hit? So, Jesse Jackson, who just passed away, right? He ran for president twice. The blacks didn't even care. They didn't even look at him. You notice when, I remember before Obama ran for president. Do you guys know where Obama announced it? On Oprah, the big, on the Miami plantation. The Miami plantation. And the blacks were like, oh my goodness, everywhere. So they're not supporting Obama's black side. They are supporting the white side. That's who they are in love with. The white side of Obama, not the black side. Okay. Hey, Chaotic, welcome in the house. It's been a minute. So, on Oprah, I mean, literally, you look at it, it's like a plantation. They're like, oh, Obama, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go and sit with the biggest mammy that we've elevated. So you're going to go over there and say, you're going to run for president. And guess what? All the other mammies are going to gather, and they're going to make sure all the little Negroes, are in line. But Jesse Jackson, oh, hell no. And Jesse Jackson matched with MLK, like he said. So, yeah, just to, give a little salt on that, on sugar, whatever.
The fool is a sellout. Because what you're attracted to is the same thing that allow you to remain, not allowed. It's the same reason you remained here in the land on which you were enslaved and didn't want to leave. Even when the ships were waiting and say, come, go to Liberia and Sierra Leone. I promise you something, dear friend. If the people who held black people, my ancestors who came from Africa, if the people who held them here as slaves were black, not a single African American would have remained here. Let me show you something.
Okay.
We just,
Exactly. If their slave masters were black, or the moment, if let's say Abraham Lincoln was black, his name wouldn't be Abraham Lincoln. Let's say he was the chief of the other blacks and his name was, Dagonte Elbago, for example. he signs that. I can assure you the next day or a week, by the time the year finishes, none of the blacks would remain. They would have left. They would have left if their enslavers were black. So Zanu is correct. The blacks did not want to leave and go to Liberia or Sierra Leone because they want to stay with Massa. Doesn't that make you question even the stories now they tell you about slavery? Why is so many blacks refuse? Like I've read so many books, different books, where like, I mean, literally, man, like slaves, ex-slaves who like they would say, hey, if you want to go back to your homeland, we would help you go. And they refuse. They refuse. I mean, you guys are seeing the example right now. FBAs are fighting, Africans and Caribbeans. Do you know why they are fighting them? It's not that Africans did anything. Their first excuse was, oh, you want to take reparation, aka meaning they think, you want to get closer to Massa. You think Massa is gonna drop us for you? Finally, it came out, they said, oh, you guys trying to replace us. That's what it was all about. They think this is what the bumpsters, like when you go on the Gambian beach, on the beach over there, they have people there, they call them bumpsters. So the bumpsters, you would see like a bumpster would have like a white granny friend, whatever, girlfriend. And then another bumpster would find a way to try to sneak in, and try to, replace the other bumpster. And that usually doesn't go well with the first bumpster that already, got the foothold, with the granny girlfriend. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing, same kind of pattern. Why do you think I'm able to understand this psychology? Because I have studied bumpsters back in the days and see how they move about. Is similar thing. I don't know what it is about, blacks, when it comes to white, they are so protective of for the whites not to get close to another black. So that's what the FBA, they are doing. That's why they celebrate it and say, oh, did you see Massa? Massa said our name. They acknowledge us on Massa's television. I mean, go and see their leader, Tariq Nasheed. He celebrated it. He said, oh, they finally acknowledge us. Now it's all over for the Africans.
I did a show with a gentleman from New York, John Pina, and we were talking about South Sudan. How come an African country, Sudanese, the Republic of Sudan, in one part felt like they were being tortured and beaten and corrupted, right? So they said, we want to break away and form our own country. You see how quickly they broke away? Because the people who were torturing them were also black. As I speak to you, right now in Nigeria, if the Igbos will have their way, they will break away from Nigeria, but they are all black. As I'm speaking to you, Cameroon, the French-speaking side, is looking to break away from Cameroon. Show me a place where whites were being brutal and the blacks run away.
So if we keep the focus on the US, I would say there is an aspect of you don't know the world outside of what you live in. And sometimes it's better to live in an evil you know than maybe have a great unknown, because that unknown is truly unknown.
Beautiful. However, that is not the case here at all, because we have the Amerigo-Liberian story.
But
they provided ships. Marcus Garvey made it happen.
Wait, hold on. That's going to Africa, right?
Yeah.
But for example, in World War I and World War II, you have Black soldiers, and even Korean War, right? Black soldiers who are finally going completely outside, not even just to the continent of Africa, but the continent of Europe, kind of Asia. Well, anyway.
She's going to talk about World War I and World War II. The crazy thing is, I don't think most blacks in America realize that there were plenty of Africans soldiers that fought in both World War One and World War Two, and that was their first time leaving the continent of Africa to go fight on European soil, on foreign soil. So it's no different than the blacks who left America to go fight in these wars. And already the blacks here they already have proximity to white people. They socialize in the white system. So, they are still going to a familiar territory. But think about it. Like my grandfather fought in World War II. I've talked about that here. He went to World War II. He was 18 years old. His first time leaving the continent of Africa as a soldier to go fight in a foreign land. So this is not unique to the blacks. And think about the blacks they're going to Europe. It was a familiar territory. Okay, familiar territory. So you notice when it comes to going to Africa, the blacks would make all kind of excuses. Why they didn't want to, they didn't want to leave the white man to go to Africa. And finally, today in 2026, they would say, "Oh, we built this country to our forebearings, fought hard for us." But they want you to be free so you can go back to your homeland. But it started from that time when Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. The slaves did not want to leave. They want to be close to Massa for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So the continent of Asia and Europe, right? And now you have these people these black people and black Americans saying, wow, life truly is different. I am treated as X, Y, and Z. I am looking at things and I'm understanding that my life doesn't have to be what it is in the US. I think we have been told about what Africa is, right? And you have to go to see. And so I think part of the hesitation is that unknown. Will it be better? Will it be the same?
From what I've known from psychology, there are only two reactions you get from a human being: flight or fight, right? And what I know, when human beings find themselves in when a human beings find themselves in a very life-threatening, stressful environment, they leave. It is contained in Deuteronomy. When they asked the Jews, "But where would you leave Egypt to go?" They said, "No, we don't. But we know one thing, that we should leave this place." So it's not true that you have to know that something is out there. When slaves were running away from their masters, do you think they know where they are going? Freedom and the desire for it.
Exactly. Frank hit it right there. Because if you think about it, right, there were slaves who ran away from their masters. Back when, like Frederick Douglass is one of them. He was born in a plantation. The only place he knew was that plantation. He didn't know what was outside in the other parts of outside the world of that plantation. But that didn't stop him from running away. There were many slaves back in those days. They didn't know what was out there in the world. But what they cared about is to be free, freedom. They ran away from the plantation because they want, like the plantation condition was so terrible for them. They saw it as being terrible and they ran away. I mean, they didn't care where, they don't know what's out there, but they're like, hey, I'm going, I'm leaving. Any place would be better than this place. And they would take chances. So he's right. So the lady, the excuse she is giving, saying, oh, we don't know what was in Africa. The blacks that went to Sierra Leone, the capital is called Freetown. Did you guys know that, Liberia is not the only place? The ex-slaves went to Sierra Leone first and established that place called Freetown. Then you had other group from America that left America and went to Liberia, hence the name Liberia, liberty, freedom. Their capital is Monrovia. They named it after President Monroe. They didn't know what was out there. But they want to be free. They're like, hey, any place would be better than here. And they left. So Frank is right.
Mhm.
It's not when you are promised that the other side is good. Freedom simply means, no, this place is not good. We have
Yes.
to examine, and I'm serious about that. Now, many people will take offense, but for me, I'm a fundamentalist. When I look at any problem, I'm trying to collect information slowly about that problem. Like the pyramid, I would collect information from observation, what is called repeatance or pattern, data, numbers, years, before I come to any conclusion. I have traveled widely and I have seen people who were once enslaved and brutally, even in Africa and outside. And always, when they're free, they leave.
Okay.
But that happens when it is between a Black African and a Black African tribe. Okay? When it happened in South Africa, you would think the South Africans would have told the white people, all right, you've been here for 13 generations. Yeah, you don't even speak Dutch. You are Africans. But since we don't have a good relationship, and you are only 2.8 million, we declare, instead of Mandela asking, just take away apartheid, which is not a thing. You can't take it away from the head, right? But he said, take away apartheid. Just tell me that it will not be there anymore. Instead of saying, you know what? It's time you guys fly your own flag and cut off. Why didn't they do that? The same reason my people didn't run away after slavery was over here. And that should lead us to look deep into our head.
Man, he gave a different perspective on even like South Africa. He's like, okay, even for example, he says even South Africa. So the whites there are only 2.8 million. So instead of Mandela going to prison for 27 years and then coming back and saying, oh, let's unite with the whites, they could have been like, okay, fine. You guys have been here for generations. Let's just cut ties. We'll let you keep this area. You fly your own flag. We would fly our own flag. Because if those were blacks, Mandela would have wanted to separate. So Frank has got a point there. He's like, hey, the same reason why the South Africans didn't want to separate from the whites, they want to put everything in one bowl, is the same reason why the blacks didn't want to leave.
What is it about this feeling? To the point, in one of the West African countries, I'm not going to say the name so they don't crucify me. I saw it with my eyes because I took a white boy with me when I was running my program. Girls come to that club that is on a beach at night. Girls, local girls, as young as 17, begging white men to sleep with them so they can get pregnant with no condom.
You see, Frank is touching on, sensitive subjects here. So, did you guys, I don't know if you guys are familiar, there is a Russian guy traveling around Africa. I heard that he got arrested whatsoever. But he went to Kenya, Ghana, as far as we know, and he was there sleeping with the women, with no condom on, and now they're saying the guy is like HIV positive, and they're worried that he passed it on. So Frank is giving an example. He took a white guy with him to his program in Africa. So he would come to a club, the white guy, and you heard him, all these local women, they would come there. They would beg to sleep with the white guy with no condom on because they want to have a mixed baby. Unbelievable. So we can't say it's not real, because what Frank is saying, we cannot say, oh no, that did not happen. We literally seeing this with the Russian guy, circulating in the World Wide Web right now as we speak. And the Ghanaian guys, they are online, they are very upset. How dare this guy come over here, and pick up our Ghanaian chicks over here? They are like, man, they have to put out a arrest warrant for this guy. They want to arrest him. They should be arresting those women instead of the guy. So here we go.
Because if you get pregnant
Mm-hmm.
and the baby comes out as a mulatto, your status is raised.
Interesting.
So I'm not talking about African Americans alone here, because I have observed it
Africans worldwide, you're
as a
saying.
writer who saw life and culture. I've observed it in not one African country, plenty.
Do you think perhaps, and I have no idea, I'm just asking this question, I do not know the answer to,
Yeah.
but do you feel that perhaps African folks worldwide are more susceptible to something like Stockholm syndrome, where we feel like we have to stay with our captor?
Why should it be Africans only?
Well, because we're talking about Africans.
Yeah, you know what is interesting? Whenever we look at our behavior, the first thing we look is read some books to find a word that will just replace and explain why we are there. So many Black Americans I've met and Africans, oh, it's Stockholm syndrome. Oh yeah, that's what he said at all. You got to read it properly. We're using it to justify what we're doing.
And not a justification, but truly
but your question is very important. Even if it's a Stockholm syndrome, you still have to ask yourself, why is it my race that became susceptible to that syndrome? Did the syndrome come first, or the propensity in the brain comes first?
So I'll give you a question, and not a question, but I'll give you a short story. So obviously it's been passed down, so there are probably some liberties people have taken, but my mom remembers that her and her siblings were in the kitchen hearing their great aunts talk about slavery. And they were children during this time. And so they remember hearing and kind of an overview of an escape plan. And the kids' first thought was to tell someone that there's an escape plan, right? So obviously there's some things that happen and all of this stuff, but ultimately my mom, reports to me that she's wondering if there is what was that about essentially? Why, if you're a slave, why would you then report another slave? Even being a child, right?
To the white slave owner.
I don't know who it was to, right? It could have been to an adult, another slave adult, right?
Yeah.
But why would you want to report them? Why not let them get their freedom? Why are you essentially holding someone back? And I find that a lot in the community.
Because misery loves company, man. That's why misery loves company. That's why they reported them.
If we stick with Black Americans, right? We say things or do things to hold people back. I have lived on 3 different continents. I have traveled around the world, and RIP grandma, but she used to call me and say, "You're not going to go, are you? Because they're doing X, Y, and Z to people in that country," to scare me into not going, right? To hold on close to me. Why? Why not allow someone to essentially be free? Why do we want to be in captivation together?
I see.
Yeah.
Oh, very simple. This is very common in my tribe. Misery loves company. If I allow you to go, it would expose my inability, which is common. So if you are the outlier and you begin to think that because I can do it, others should, that's where the problem begins. You have to look at it stereotypically. I'm a very strong believer in stereotype. There is nothing wrong with stereotype. It is the only thing that have guided us when we go to some places to remain safe and leave. I know where to go and where not to go.
Mental shortcuts.
That's correct, mental shortcuts. You are in that field. If I go to Harlem in 1946 or 50, after 7 p.m., I'll take all my bling from my neck and my wallet and put it under my shirt and walk through some neighborhoods. Am I stereotyping everybody? Yes. Are there
For your
good?
safety.
Exactly. But are there good people in that place that will not even steal a dime? Yes.
Of course.
Should I use a few that will not steal a dime? No. I use what is popular.
Mhm. I think when it comes to race, people condemn stereotypes, and I get why, because sometimes it goes too far, right? And then when I say goes too far, it leads to people just blatantly being racist and giving an excuse based on a stereotype. But I would say, as a woman, for example, I think in stereotypes for men. So if I am alone at night and there's a guy walking behind me, I will most likely stop and walk behind him, because as statistics say, right, stereotypes say, a man is stronger, he might
So
overpower
if
me,
it
he
was
might do
a
all
black
these
guy you
things.
did that, your people would say self-hate.
Correct.
If it was a white guy you did it, they will say you are being racist.
Yes.
Okay, which one is which? When is it racism?
It's neither. It is
Very
purely
good.
because he's a man.
It's a man. You're using
Correct.
pattern. That's what I'm saying.
That's
Pattern
it.
is
Pattern
important.
So you see, pattern recognition. But if you do that with the black and it's a white person, oh, you are racist. No, 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 no. It's just pattern recognition. That's what it is. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Recognition. Yeah.
Pattern recognition, okay?
Mhm.
That's as simple as it is.
Right.
And if we look at that, then we will understand that people should use stereotype. So I met a lady called Fatima when I was in Japan.
Mhm.
Was in Japan somewhere. She was also a reporter, and she came from Egypt. So we would stay in the evening. Nobody knows her, so I can say things about her. She likes hugging me a lot. She hugs almost all of us in the press club. She'll hug when she comes in.
Mhm.
But she was from Egypt and a Muslim.
Very condemned. Yeah.
Okay, so fast forward about 15 years later, I go to Cairo. You think I use Fatima to be opening my arms to hug people while
Please
I'm in
do
Cairo?
not.
They'll cut my head off
Mhm.
in Egypt, right? So you don't use the outliers to say, you have to stereotype the whole place. So each time I was asked to go to another country, what do? I go to the embassy of the country I'm going to go to and ask them for pamphlets, the little booklets they write to teach you. And I learn about the multicultural communication of that country to understand basically what I should know and not know. Now, it's not going to save you completely. But each time I get to those countries, it helped me. But what is in that booklet means that the country have seen more than 90% of the people do this.
So they have to write it down.
That's correct. So when a black person goes out to any country, when is it racism? When is it stereotype? It's always stereotype.
Until you get used to it or conditioned to it or
It's always
exposed to it.
stereotype because everywhere have seen it. We're loud. It's our nature. We are very
Boisterous.
That's correct. You know my fat Greek wedding?
Yes.
That's correct. That thing taught me a whole lot of things I've already seen. Japanese, you've been there, you know it. No matter what it is, they would even laugh, they cover their mouth, okay? For them, their community, their culture have taught them that you should always think about this, left and right before you do something.
And this is true. Like, blacks generally are loud, not just like blacks in America, even like in Africa. It's just a black thing, it seems like, right? But that same, like in Africa, for example, if you go to places like Gambia, you've seen it, like Nigerians, or the people are loud. So in that environment is normal. But when you come to white environments where there's noise ordinance, now it becomes abnormal. That's why it's giving Japan as an example. So you have to learn and understand the environment that you are going to. It doesn't mean what you do wherever you are, it's not is the norm. It's not. So it's best you learn about it and know the place you're going to.
So they are always very cautious, which makes them very slow to action and to anger. Number two, they've also been taught that anger reduces your dignity. It means it's only reserved for, gemba workers, construction workers, So they carry themselves with dignity. That becomes so important because it should be recognized by this. Now, you remember when George Bush Sr., the president, went to Japan, and he had gone round and round tired. I don't know what caused it. Nobody knows till today. But during the state banquet, He sat next to Miyazawa, who was then Prime Minister of Japan. And I happened to be in Japan at that time. And the press, CBS, went with him, and Japanese media. And George Bush threw up on the prime ministers. The Japanese cameramen, what did they do? They turned their camera. All the Japanese camera, TV camera, turned their camera. What do you think the American cameras did?
Zoomed in, of course. They want to see everything.
They zoomed in to put this man on television throwing up on the host prime minister's pants. This is not, the Japanese were blown away like, are you effing kidding me? But it's American culture.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. George Bush Sr., not the second Bush, the senior one. He's talking about he went to Japan and he threw up on the Japanese prime minister. And the Japanese, they are so polite. They covered the cameras. They didn't want the people to see it. But the American media, what did they do? They exposed George Bush. They're like, oh, this is going to be good TV for America. They zoomed in. Okay. They want everyone in America to know that George Bush threw up on the prime minister. But that's just, cultural differences.
I think the biggest thing of American culture is individualism and exception.
That's correct.
We are always the exception to the rule. It's always about us.
That's correct.
And I think this is why we get so angry with stereotypes. Because, for example, I studied sociology, criminology. The number one thing, pretty much the first day of any class, they always teach you and your individual life does not matter.
Yes.
I don't care what you think.
Yes.
I don't care what your experience is. It does not matter. The collective data is what matters. So, for example, something that you learn in sociology, if your parents have a higher level of education, so will you. If they do not, you will not. First day of class, someone raised their hand. Well, my parents only graduated high school and here I am in college. We're not talking about you.
Oh, my
We're talking about the data.
My God.
We're talking about the collective data.
Yes,
so I think when you mention stereotypes, I'm sure there are people who will be in the comments right now, keyboard warriors, saying, you're wrong. But the thing is, stereotypes derive from some collective truth and experience.
Yes.
And based on how you interact with those stereotypes, that will then determine more action. So when you mentioned Harlem walking through.
Man, I remember, I took sociology, back then in the 13th grade. Man, the topic where, we had to write a paper about stereotypes. My goodness, you guys should see some of the stereotypes I was able to observe about, certain groups that I wrote down. I can't even disclose it here, but, I saw it. It was stereotype. I wrote it. Even the professor was like, man, I want to disagree with you, but there's no way. People are not supposed to talk about this, but you're good. So I wouldn't disclose it here. I would leave it to your imagination. And I'm not naming any groups. So I don't want people to come up and start making up stuff. Okay? I would leave that to your imagination. So, but you can also guess, what my paper was about as well in the 13th grade in my sociology class.
Tucking, in 1950s, tucking your stuff in after.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But then if you start going around saying, no one touched me, I know you all are thieves, you all are doing this, that is now taking it a step too far.
Okay,
right?
well, it depends on the situation when I'm going to say that. If you accuse me, why did you tuck your things under your shirt? Yes, because you guys steal. I've lived in a town where I never closed my door. I went all the way to Africa with students and left my door and the keys in my car.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine called me from North Carolina. I'm coming through. I said, well, the door is open, right? Then I moved to the city where I am now and say the name of the city. And not only do I lock my door, I test it twice and put things behind the door in my car. You understand? But not everybody in that city would break into my house.
No.
So I should use that as a guide to say, hey, stop doing this. No, I'm not an idiot. You see, now let's go back to what people are not able to deal with. The reason people are not able to deal with us, everywhere I've gone, even people who have not met us yet, blacks,
mm-hmm.
they know 3 things about us, right? It's because we ourselves refuse to acknowledge that this is part of our personality. So what do you see? You see these people whom I read to you
Mhm.
condemning what is very much just us. And when you do so, okay,
Mhm.
now that's a big part of this conversation. Here you have Andre Williams, Nick Fuente, Hughley, and Charleston, and many more saying that we've had enough with black fatigue.
Mhm.
Blacks saying they can't even stand their own blacks. So where does it become racism when others who are not black cannot stand us?
I think it becomes racism when there's a level of malice. So I think intent matters. Open dialogue versus maliciously trying to take down.
Yeah, but that's crazy. Who gets to determine if it's malice or not? So okay, other black people said the same thing. Someone who isn't black said it. Now all of a sudden you want to be the judge of intent. How would you know someone's intent? They said the same exact thing other black people said, and observe. So yeah.
Down a group of people
What
based on a
example are you giving
stereotype.
of it? You go to Japan and they say, don't come to my restaurant. Is that racism or stereotype?
No. So here's a great example. When I first moved to Korea, I remember going to this restaurant and this ajuma,
Mhm.
she, an older woman who ran the restaurant, kept saying, no, you can't eat here.
Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't really have a good grasp of Korean. So I thought maybe a language barrier. So I went to the next place, similar. And it, just for context, it was Korean barbecue.
Mhm.
So then I went to another place and I said the same thing. And this time I looked up a phrase so I knew what to say. And when she was saying the phrase back, I was like, let me translate that. And pretty much, once again, it was, you can't eat here.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, man, these Korean people are racist, until I took a second to do a little bit of research and to talk to a few Korean people. And their response is, oh, you went to Korean barbecue? That's a group activity. You're a woman. They probably think you can't eat enough. The minimum order is 2 people. How are you as a woman going to eat enough food to pay the bill for 2 people? Because they're going to charge you for 2 people no matter what.
This lady is smart. She didn't just stop at saying it's racist like most blacks would probably do. Because everything with most blacks, oh, they are racist, but there is always something behind it. So it turns out it's not that, blacks cannot eat there, but to eat at a Korean barbecue, it's a group activity. So they only see one person, they didn't want to charge her more money, and they don't believe she can eat, plenty of food. So that's why I said this is a edutainment show, so that you are able to look at things in a broader scope. It's not everything that people do you jump to, oh, they hate me, they don't like me. No, try to find out what it is all about. So she's finding out, no, it's not that they are racist. This is how they do it over there.
So they're essentially trying to save you money.
Yep.
Instead of making you pay for
Yep.
2 people. They know maybe you can't eat enough. Now, do they know how much I can eat? No, but the stereotype is, as a woman, you may not eat as much. I don't know if you can do that, because once again, we think just getting thrown out of a place or told no is racism. That's not the racism part, right?
Well, I'm happy that you
That's
have that
not the
experience. I
racism
had
part.
that experience in Korea.
Mhm.
Okay. And when I finally learned a little bit of Korean and started talking, I realized it's like we don't speak English, and we're not going to be at your table
Translating.
translating and going back and forth, and we don't know how to serve you. You may not even understand. We don't want any problem. We just say, look, stay away. Look, for me, I don't have any problem with that at all, just like you did. Now, but here is the other side of where the burden is on you, who is being stereotyped, to make the other one feel comfortable.
To say it.
That's a smart idea. African goddess said, no noise is a West African thing. East Africans are. No noise is a West African thing. East Africans are not. You mean loud noise is a West African thing? But to say no noise is a West African thing, I'll have to disagree with you. Like, what are you talking about? West Africa. Let's just put only Nigeria alone. Have you Nigeria alone? That would debunk this whole thing. No, West Africa is very loud. You said it's not an East Africa thing? Probably, maybe. But yeah, you're seeing it. Some of these places, instead of jumping to saying conclusion that they are racist, no, they just don't want any problem. It's not about your skin color. It could be language barrier as well. So their cultures are so polite, they don't want to offend you.
Or to
No.
what?
In the way you present, like what you did.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't go, yao, yao, and started waving your long lashes and your fingers in their face.
Mm-hmm.
That also will be known by the other ones, and it becomes even more now. Oh, we told you they are crazy people. But you took a step back to say, let me step in her shoes. And you researched. Oh, wow. Now you've educated yourself, right?
Yes.
And you could say some things in Korea to make them know that she understands.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem becomes when we feel like the woman said, you can't come in here. It is her burden to let me know why I can't come in here. Well, first, she doesn't even have your language enough to tell you why. It is your burden.
But that's because I'm in someone else's place.
That's correct.
But I guess because you asked why is it where there's racism, I would say how you mentioned long eyelashes and fingernails, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a stereotype we have of Black women, but you also know who does it too? Latina women and Asian women.
Well,
but
that's why in America they say black and brown.
Them.
Yeah, when we talk about anything bad, we say black and brown.
Yeah.
When there's election, we say black and brown people will vote for this person.
But these people that you mentioned did not. They specifically talked about Black people, right? And so I think just as a Black American, what I feel is I understand that stereotypes are true. I understand that we have to take mental shortcuts in order.
As a Black American, you guys notice? So when people judge the group, people get mad. But this is how most of these women, Blacks, represent themselves as a Black American. Like people can clearly see you, there's no need to. The moment you start using color, you're making the whole thing, weird. Like people can clearly see, what you look like. But for some reason, it's like the Blacks themselves are not sure of maybe what they're seeing in the mirror. I don't know. Like, do you guys know? I'm going to do compilation of videos and show you different Black women. Or even Black men who, when they start their speech by saying, as a Black, this, as a Black, like everyone can see like you are Black. Why throw in your race? Because most of the time they want to use their race, skin color as a weapon, to weaponize it, to become a victim. It's like you're making it more difficult for people to interact. It's like this interaction we just saw here. The lady said at first she thought in Korea they were being racist, but it turned out they were not being racist. That's just the rules. Like one single individual cannot go into the place and eat. So there's no need to throw in your race every single time. But I know people are conditioned here in America to make it about their race. But maybe over time, as we keep doing shows like this, it would help break you out of that.
Keep ourselves safe and to protect our families and our livelihood.
Now let's come to
when you're condemning someone, and you don't condemn another group for doing the same thing, it becomes what is the difference between the two groups? The only difference is the long eyelashes and fingernails, weaves even. So as someone who lived in Japan and Korea, let me tell the camera, Japanese and Korean women wear weaves a lot. Okay, just put that out there. A whole lot. If you live in America, especially California, like I do, let me tell the camera, white women wear weaves all the time, right? They just call it hair extensions, but it's the same process.
White people do it too syndrome. You seeing that? White people do it too syndrome. But let's hear more of this.
They do not have the stereotype of weaves.
Mhm.
If a black man or someone, else who wants to date a black woman, they'll say, I don't like to date them because they wear weaves and wigs and all this stuff.
Mhm.
So do these other women. Japanese women really wear wigs a lot for hairstyles,
Yeah,
right?
if you go
But we
to,
don't condemn them for
what's
doing
the place called in New York? Flatbush or Flushing? Flushing.
Flushing. Mhm.
Among the Koreans, one of the biggest industry in Flushing
Mhm.
is selling fake weaves from India and Vietnam.
Okay.
95% of people line up at the stores to buy in bulk and come to Bridgeport and Hartford and
So,
are black people.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
that's here.
what I'm trying to say is this. White boys wear sagging pants.
Mhm.
But if it's a sagging pants, I've seen they used to call them jiggers in Japan.
Talking about what? Yeah, the white boys that sag their pants, they call them wiggers. Oh, so in Japan they are called jiggers. Okay.
Japanese niggers.
Mhm.
But if you talk about sagging pants, you're not going to think of Japanese. If you
Right.
talk about sagging pants, you're not going to be thinking about a white boy. You talk about black people. The same with the weaves. Ours is just top of the line. I'm telling you, the hair is falling halfway. You keep pushing it back up. Come on, it's not the same. Japanese wear weaves. It's not the same. It's not even close. To the point, Higley was telling us 175 million last year alone. That was not Japanese in America wearing weaves. Black people.
I'm not denying it, but what I'm saying is what's the difference?
Serena Williams alone have made the wig or weave industry. And not just, oh, I'm a black woman, my hair is kinky, I can't maintain it every day. What do? You should wear a fake one that looks like your hair. No, we don't. That's where people know that. Have you seen a Japanese with an Afro wig? But I've seen all black women with blonde hair wig.
Bingo. Lady, see, that's the difference. And this lady, she's not the only one that would make that point. Oh, white women wear extensions to, but they use their own hair texture, their own type of hair. Japanese. But black women are wearing a whole different race's hair texture. And Frank is right. I have never seen, unless if it's Halloween, but I have never seen a white woman, Hispanic, or any other race woman, wearing a kinky black hair weave. I've never seen it. So the lady, I don't even, at first it didn't even dawn on her that it's not the same thing, because they are running around here like Serena Williams, you're seeing, wearing blonde weaves, and they're going like this, and they have the audacity to say white people are culturally appropriating them. I'm like, ladies, you guys are the ones appropriating every other culture. You don't see white people, like I said, unless if it's Halloween. What white woman or Japanese have you seen wearing a kinky weave? No other race is doing this. But black women are wearing blonde hair. And, they're not even stopping there. They are even trying to look white, bleaching their skin. So here we go.
I mean, I have seen a Japanese person with
Serena Williams is an example of it. She touches cotton, and the ambulance have to come and carry her because she's in trauma. But she's married to a white man whom she sleeps with every day. But cotton frightened her so much that she had a trauma. And then she was wearing a white long wig of the person.
Did you guys? So Serena Williams got traumatized because she said there was cotton in the room. I guess Serena, and Serena is married to a white man, bleach her skin, she's got blonde weave. So deep down, Serena, thought she is white. So seeing the cotton frightened her. Like, oh my goodness, I thought I was white. They're about to put me in plantation. Do you guys think that's what Serena Williams was thinking? I mean, come on, Serena. Lady, get it together. Like you had the tennis games together, okay? I mean, Serena went and bleached her skin, and now she is refusing to eat because she wants to get rid of everything black about her. She wants to lose so much weight to look like a snow bunny, right? And she got the blonde wig. She looked in the mirror. She wasn't frightened by what she saw. And she looked on the side of her bed. She wasn't frightened of what she saw, but she was frightened by the cotton in the room. I mean, do you guys see? Don't you guys see there's a little problem here somewhere? I mean, just think about it. There's a problem right there. Something is going on with Serena and her sister, you know? They definitely, I don't know what happened to them, but they are trying to get rid of the blackness completely. Completely. They are, it's like they're not only stopping at the weaves and, Mary, like her for her bleaching her skin. She wants to erase her whole DNA, entire DNA. And I know most of you don't want to acknowledge it, but you are seeing exactly what the rest of us are seeing. And yeah, she was afraid of cotton. I mean, come on. Did she think she was about to be sent back to the plantation?
Who lynched her great 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 grandparents. Now, I am saying to you, we started from that woman would never go near anything white, will never even put a wig that is blonde. That is what we started discussing. The question which Nietzsche, why do we do it? And I told you the whiteness in it is natural. That attraction to white is natural. People are calling me self-hate. I laugh. I didn't create black to become loyal to it or love it. I love the things I created. So I have no love for black. It's an accidental skin color.
I need you to explain why attraction to whiteness is natural, because I would disagree. You don't grow up, you get trained to think that way, but you don't innately think that way.
You don't think. It's not a thinking.
You're saying it's an attraction, though.
Mm-hmm.
An attraction is a feeling, but there is
a feeling, yes.
There is nothing that social conditioning, right?
No, not at all.
Can not do.
No.
Social conditioning can do a whole lot.
I don't know because I've not done it, but I can tell you that you don't need social conditioning to know that sugar tastes better than vinegar.
So
any fruit hanging on a tree, from experience, we watch animals bite it, and their behavior after biting the fruit is why humans knew not to go near it.
Yes, but you're talking about objects with objective taste, right?
Same
we're
with
talking
objects.
About people.
That's exactly.
There is nothing I can think of, right? That would mean white people are just naturally we're more attracted
Not white
to them.
People.
Well, you said the white aesthetics, right? So you talked about blonde hair,
Sure.
but blonde hair, even in white people, is a recessive gene.
So
it's not something that is prescribed to white people. It's just white people have more recessive genes than the rest of us. So they tend to have blonde hair and blue eyes.
See, she's about to make excuses, right? So I remember when black women used to make the argument about the hairs, and they would come up, Africans got all kinds of different hair, and they would show different hairs and be like, oh, this is Africans grow this. I have lived in Africa, okay, and I have not seen that hair type, but somehow they would fabricate that. So she wants to make the argument, blonde is recessive, but still it is white people that have it. In Africa, when you see like people with blonde hair, they are the albinos. Albinos have their hair looks blondish. So, but the ones that you guys are putting, like you see Serena Williams over here, that you find beautiful, that's white people hair. I mean, like there's entire white countries that I myself and Dr. Umar, we've classified them as snow bunny land. You know, Stockholm, Sweden, Finland, uh, I mean, parts of Germany. There's entire countries where you would find snow bunnies there with blonde hair. You go to Russia, Slovenia. I'm telling you about all the snow bunny lands over here. You know, Ukraine, I mean, Iceland. That's right. I mean, these are snow bunny lands. Like literally, they, you know, you go over there, you know, you see white women, their skin looking like buttermilk, and their hair is, you know, blonde. I mean, this is their thing, their nature. You see what I'm saying? So now Serena Williams, they think we don't know. She wants to bleach her skin to try to turn it into buttermilk color, but it's not working. She can't deceive us. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know how this woman can possibly make her argument, but let's listen to her point, you know, because we're learning. So here we go.
It's not at all easy. And I know that because I've done a lot of conversation on it. Even for me to admit it. I was able to do this analysis so easily with no emotion because I came to realize one thing. I didn't create my skin color. I have no credit for it. It's an accidental skin color because I didn't apply for it. I didn't buy it. So that is the only place for me that I am removed from these skin things. So let me wait. You asked me.
Because
it is important. I know it's going to be uncomfortable, Elizabeth, but this is important for the listeners to decide. We will go to the comments and they will tell us, right?
Well,
so you ask me and you say something. I've heard it plenty of times that is socialization. Now let me tell you, I pray to God that it's not socialization, because if it is socialization, then we are the dumbest people God ever put on earth.
But we are.
I don't believe it. No, I don't believe it.
We have a lot of non-critical thinkers.
No, I don't believe it. The reaction to light is not socialization.
These are inanimate objects. I need you to tell me specifically why white people.
Because I've seen it in human environment, how we react to colors.
So what if I told you this? What if I told you that humans socially, naturally, right? Because you use the word naturally are attracted to just people different from them. And if the white people are a global minority, right? They are the least. And when they get into places, there's less white people around. When you see them, they are different. You are attracted to it because it's different, not because it's white.
Yeah, but blacks, the minority here in America. If what you are saying, why isn't that applying to blacks? Blacks are minority here.
So, for example, in Japan, clearly, I am not Japanese. There are not a lot of black people in Japan. So when they see me, they are more attracted to me naturally, not necessarily sexually attracted or romantically attracted, but they just find me more interesting than they would a normal everyday Japanese person because I am different. We as humans, we're just naturally attracted to different things. Curly people love straight hair. Straight hair people love curly hair. Wavy people want either one, right? Light skin, dark skin, right? That's why you see dark skin and light skin people get together, because light skin people are tired of light skin, dark skin people tired of their dark skin. We are just naturally attracted to things that are different, but it doesn't necessarily mean, I guess, so to your point, it doesn't mean that it's the best, right? It just means that's something that we do as humans.
You're trying to put qualifications in what I'm trying to explain. I haven't even gotten to where you should understand yet.
Because you keep talking about inanimate objects. Yes. I just want to talk about the people.
All right. I am saying to you that Japanese would find you interesting, yes. Mm-hmm. Your hair, your shape, and everything. But he's not going to go out of his way or her way to say, I'm going to look like that.
But they do all the time.
No, they don't all the time. Please.
Why do black people do this? They like to make. Are you guys seeing this? So she started in the beginning, it was Stockholm syndrome. Franc debunked that. So now she is making the argument again. 1 minute it was white people do it too. So now she's trying to tell us Japanese are trying to be, looking like blacks. Really? I don't know which Japanese she's talking about, but the Japanese I've seen are far from looking black. So she's trying to justify why the black woman, especially, just copies the white woman, wants to copy the white woman. So, yeah, she's being ridiculous. I agree with you, Frank.
Let's
They
just be
do.
honest. They don't. They don't. I
They
lived in
do.
Japan longer than you lived there. I've gone
Correct,
to
but you
many
haven't lived there
different places.
recently,
What
and
I'm-
I have.
yes,
And I'm telling you,
yes. What
there's
I'm
a
saying
huge
is
push
this.
for black culture.
Japanese will look at your head. You're not gonna see a wave of Japanese buying kinky hair to wear on their head. They're not gonna do it, and they're not gonna take up your behavior. It's all I'm saying. They're not gonna eat your food to grow fat. They're not gonna be shouting in public. But they found you interesting. What interesting means in Japan?
Exactly. What? So they can find you interesting, meaning you're different, it's something that is not familiar to them. That doesn't mean they're gonna all of a sudden like copy you. For example, like I see people, like I used to see people who, they're interesting to me, sagging their pants, where it's almost falling down. It's interesting, but I'm never copying it. I never copy it. So just because someone finds you interesting doesn't mean they're going to copy what you're doing. Blacks do take it far. Not only stopping at seeing the white woman's hair, way of dress as interesting, you want to replace the white woman physically.
It's actually when you are doing things that conflicts with the way they see things. Interesting. How did he have, I am saying you can see colors. It's inanimate, but you, the person seeing it, you are animate. And when you see it, it has effect on your brain. Why do they paint hospitals around the universe all white? Why do they paint clubs inside red? Because they know it has effect on people. So you're not going to paint a club white. No, people will leave. So you paint it what their brain would excrete to. And we know throughout history, we've seen it in cultures. I've seen it because I wrote Culture in Life. It's painful for me to observe it. Muhammad Ali says it all the time, only he didn't understand that it's a simple thing. The Russians, the Canadians, the British, the French did a lot of tests to let people know what to paint places. Color. That's why you don't paint a newborn child's room black or red or blue. You don't.
But then they
wait,
do.
Wait, you got to listen. I'm going to give you my experience. There's no qualification to it. Does it mean the color is good or bad? No. Everywhere I've gone on earth, people have a death in their family. It's black fabric.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you raise a black fabric over a garden, everything is going to die. When it's night, people are afraid to go out. When you see a black cat cross the street, you do the sign of the cross. When people die mid-air, the only place you hear their voice is the black box. You want to destroy somebody's life, blackmail. I am saying to you, they use this word, the prefix to these things, because in society, they saw human beings' reaction to dark.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as the sun comes out, you open your curtain, everybody comes to life. Plants start coming out. The sun gives light. Light is more like a white. You can see through it. It's not human beings. Anyone who can say, oh, this is not true. What are you talking?
Man, now I see why the blacks see the white man as superior. My goodness. Is this the psychology behind it? But I promise you, this lady will probably make up another excuse here. She's not ready to take it in. The way she folded her hands, she's listening but not listening. She's planning her next response. she is going to fight for her position.
Talking about. No hotel room uses black bed sheets. No newly married marries both of them in black dresses unless they are gothic and screwed up upstairs. Humans have shown science. They put the toads on your head everywhere, and then they show colors with dark room behind you, and you can see the reaction of the brain.
I think my point is that these things change, and that's why I mentioned socialization, because I think these things change over time. So you mentioned every culture in the world, black is for funerals. I agree, that's now. But if I told you during Joseon period in Korea, white was for funerals.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. So she's talking just like usually the usual argument, you would present something that is the most common. She's going to give you something that's the outlier.
Right? That's what they wore to funerals then. Or if I told you in Puerto Rico, right? The ocean, that was what they wore for funerals and rebirths and things like that.
Audrey, Audrey, you got to be nice. What do you mean something is wrong with the shoe? She went to Japan and she saw that shoe and now she's wearing it. That's end of story. Be nice.
Like that. Or even deaths or deaths or births, right? They wore white to welcome life and to let life go, right? So these are very old traditions where white was seen as something with death, associated with death. Now modernly we associate with
wear the skin color. We are the only ones who knows it. That is not a beautiful, it's a hated skin color. We know it more than anybody because we are the ones who
experience it.
No, we didn't experience it.
What do you mean we don't experience it?
We didn't experience anything. I'm saying to you, when you hear only black people said it, they hate us because of our skin color.
Bingo. Yeah. Like you would hear, like I've seen, you're not going to see a white person say they hate you because of your skin color. To black, it is black who would resort to that first and say, oh, they hate us because of our skin color. So what is it about you that makes you think people hate you because of your skin color? What's wrong with your skin color? So let's hear this interaction.
Because you experienced
No, you didn't experience it. Why, what about the skin color? What about it that he's hating?
I guess I don't understand your question.
What about the skin color is the person hating?
I don't understand your question because it would be the blackness of the skin color, right? The darkness of it.
What about the darkness of it?
That's something to ask the person who's racist, right?
No, you're the one who said he hates me because of my skin color.
I never said they hate because of skin color.
You.
Lady, you guys see how now she's playing dumb? Like she doesn't understand. This is a common thing where like black person, they would say that white people or somebody who's not black, they hate me because of my skin color. So he's asking her, what, for example, I think he's saying, what do you think that is about your skin color that makes you think somebody else hate you because of the skin color? What is it about your skin color that they hate? That's the question he is asking. So now she's playing confused. I think she understands exactly what he's asking.
Predominantly, when I came here, I don't hear it from white people. I hate them because of the skin color. Never heard it from anybody. I hear it from black people, Michelle Obama and everybody. They hate us because of our skin color. What about your skin color?
I think this is where semantics are getting into play, because saying they hate me because of their skin color is just another way to say they hate me because I'm black. And to our previous points, stereotypes.
That is what I'm saying. Yeah. What about your blackness they're hating?
It's we talked about the association of stereotypes, right? So people are associating stereotypes with being racist. We already had this conversation.
No. I'm asking. What about the skin color? Is this Asians and white hating? What about the color they're hating?
But that's what you're asking me, a question that I also do not agree with, right?
You don't agree with what?
I'm conceding to the point that there is not necessarily the hatred of the skin color.
But what is
it's
it?
the people. That's why I said semantics.
See, it makes no sense. This lady knows. So they use that as a weapon. Because first of all, like, look at this lady's skin. Her skin is beautiful. Who in their right mind would look at them and say, oh, they don't like her skin color? I mean, they might say that, but she knows there's nothing wrong with her skin color. She's got beautiful skin color. But she also considered that she's heard other black people, even like Michelle Obama and others, that would use that. So it's like they're using that to demoralize other black people. Clearly, this lady has beautiful skin color. Nothing is wrong with her skin color. You see, when the question is pushed to the person, they can never say, oh, this is what it is. But there is something deep down, how they view their skin color. There's something deep down. I mean, imagine what drives someone to look in the mirror and decide that, you know what, let me use chemicals to change my skin color. There's something wrong there. Said he was using color of cloth and she turns it black to skin. She's deranged. Yeah. So she's not answering the question. I think she understands it. She's just plain dumb. She don't want to, because this is why the people that say these things, they don't allow debates, because if you ask them, they cannot explain it. The issue is with the individual.
Semantics is coming into
That's
play.
correct. All right. So
you're harping on the semantics.
So
I'm telling you, it's
you
semantics.
are not on the saying that it is
Yes.
not the color of the skin they're hating.
No.
Then what are they hating?
It's I already explained this, but I guess I'll say it again. We are talking about the stereotypes associated with blackness, right? So if they see me,
what is
let
the
me land.
blackness?
So I have been told in recent years, you speak so well, you're very eloquent, right? It's off-putting because it's not the kind of comment that they would necessarily say to someone who isn't black, because of the stereotypes. Maybe they thought I would be X, Y, and Z, or maybe they observed me laughing with a friend and joking, and then they hear me talk to them, and maybe the conversation is different.
I am trying to obey my followers who say, don't interrupt, let the person. Yes. But what I'm saying here, when they say you speak well or you do well, did they see our urban schools, public schools, failing blacks can read at 12th grade, 7 level?
Do you guys see how, like, most blacks like to deflect? And it's not only blacks that do this, Africans do it as well. So instead of focusing, she tried to deflect, say, oh yeah, other people, they would say to me, I speak properly. Okay, is it because there are plenty of blacks running around here? You know, they've lived here over hundreds of years now. They can barely, enunciate English words. They cannot speak proper English. So if you as a black person, you're speaking well, and people are like, oh, you speak well for a black person, why are you mad at them? Or like Frank is giving the example, is it maybe because majority of black schools, the students there are failing? They can barely do, 4th grade math or speak proper English. See, she doesn't want to acknowledge that fact. She just wants to make it about herself, even though she gave the example that in America, that's what people do. And she turns around and do it and do the same exact thing. Okay, fine, we get it. You speak good English, whatever, you sound like white people, great. But what about the majority? What about the majority? That's who we're speaking about here.
Wait. You
Because
got to
yeah,
hear.
we're getting on different points.
No. I'm not
We are.
speaking what I am. I'm not speaking my thing. I'm just quoting what is there.
I understand,
If
but
you
we're getting to a different topic.
If you talk about education in America,
Mm-hmm.
I live in a city, 4 or 5 public schools, all failing schools.
Mm-hmm.
So when a kid from that school, okay, who happened to be an African or African American,
Mm-hmm.
is at the top, then what is the person referring to when they say you speak well? It's not your color.
They wouldn't know that level of information. That's why I'm saying you're going on a different way of a conversation that we're not having. The conversation specifically is semantic. It is purely just there. Are we talking about skin color? Are we talking about things that are associated with blackness, right? Are we talking about the stereotypes associated with blackness? So when I gave that example of me being well-spoken, for example, that was said to me as well when I was in college. But I was also 19 talking to someone 50. So their compliment, if you will, is not necessarily compliment me because I'm black. It could just be because I'm young.
So
This lady is confused. A minute ago, she made it about her blackness. She said they told her she spoke well like a white person. But now all of a sudden she's like, oh, it's because she was 19. Like, this is why you cannot hold, real, genuine conversations with people like this, because the truth shifts, as you go. They change it whenever they feel like it. So a minute ago, it was about they're saying it because you're black. And now it's because you were 19 and you're talking to an older person. Which one is it? We are confused, lady. Okay, let's continue.
Agree with
Not
you
because
if
I'm
you
black.
say you're on my side saying they are not hating our skin color.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? They're not hating our skin color.
I think we can't know why people don't like someone unless they express it. We are here trying to project onto what people think, and we can't do that.
I am presenting.
But lady, a minute ago, you were talking about, Malays, people's intention. So you know what's going on in other people's head, but according to you, you know their intention, but now all of a sudden you don't know why people, quote unquote, don't like you. Not you per se, but first it was supposed to be about skin color, or as a group, why people don't like blacks. So
in something that requires simple.
To you, it's simple because in your mind you have a thought.
Wait, that's not what I mean.
Okay, so what do you mean?
I am simply saying, how can someone hate you for something you didn't create?
How can someone hate you for just existing?
Oh God, don't do that.
But I mean, we're asking questions that just don't have answers.
I'm talking about those who say they hate us for the skin color. You said no. I don't agree with that statement, and I don't either. Then we have to talk about, then what do you think people hate us for?
And I've said it, and that's why I'm not understanding why we're going back. I've already answered the question, so I'm wondering what you're trying to hear.
Did you guys see this? They asked her. She claimed people don't like blacks. Frank brought the example that we've all heard black people would say, especially here in America, they hate us because of our blackness. So he's asking, what is it about you? Because you're the one saying this. What are you projecting? What's making you, what about you, your blackness, that you think other people hate? She can't even say it. So it's not real. It's all in her head.
Here, what do you want? What do you think is the answer to that question? Because it sounds like what I'm saying is not answering your question.
No, you said it right. Okay.
Okay.
You know a people's mannerism, lifestyle before you meet them. So it's an association. It has to, not the skin
That's it.
color.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what are those things that they are associating to us?
And that's what I'm saying. I already mentioned it.
Okay.
Stereotypes, right?
We seem to have a very difficult, the ability to conflict resolution. Pure, simple. That's where the violence, both verbal violence, body violence, comes from. And why are we that? Because you remember, the black race is the only one on earth that was raised on a tropical continent. So people spend more time outdoors. Your neighborhood is crowded with gossipy people. So the propensity to quickly disagree or fall into it's common among people like that because they spend too much time outside and among themselves.
So do you think that behavior
This explains why people shoot each other in the hood.
is hereditary?
Yes.
So then would the same negative emotions or like traumatic emotions be hereditary as well?
I don't know what you mean negative. I don't know it's a negative
So
emotion.
a
It's not
lot of
negative.
times they say that Black people are the way that they are in the US specifically because of slavery.
It's not.
But then
Because
are we saying trauma isn't hereditary
no,
then?
no, it's
So
not
then
trauma.
how is
Because
what
I'm
makes
trying to say,
behavior
when
hereditary?
it made me very interesting when I arrived here. And I said, holy Christ, everything I saw here is same in my tribe, in my country.
So then what makes behavior hereditary but not trauma? What are the differences in your opinion?
Well, but you say trauma. You were raped, you have trauma. You have trauma. I don't think your children are going to have trauma.
But why would they then
If you
inherit my
watch-
behaviors and not inherit my trauma?
Frank, she's trying. See, are you guys seeing this? So she's using the Black talking point. Imagine, the talking point that is based on fighting to be seen as a victim. The argument she's trying to push, I know exactly what it is because they teach this to kids to say that the slavery, apparently slavery trauma is passed down. But that trauma cannot be passed down. He gave her the example. If something happens to you, it would traumatize you, the person that is affected. You cannot pass down to someone that didn't, if that thing didn't happen to the individual. If you get beat up and you're traumatized from getting beat up, that trauma cannot be passed onto your child unless you inflict that same trauma onto the child. But you simply getting beat up, and traumatized from it, will not automatically just pass onto your child. So trauma is, quote unquote, you cannot inherit trauma unless somebody inflict it upon you. But she's trying to put her foot down on saying, the point she's trying to make is the trauma, Blacks behave this way because of trauma, and that trauma came from slavery. That's the point. But Frank is saying he saw the same behavior in Africa. So why are the Africans behaving the same way then?
I said, trauma is that something happened to you. Yeah, and it's
Correct.
unpleasant to the brain.
Yeah.
You have trauma. But what I'm saying is, nature allows us to spend too much time with each other. And the way we build our houses, when we started, you got to see humans. And when the humans are too close, then you see a lot of. And then number two, when you have a problem with someone, you can walk away any time of the year. When you walk away with it, you don't resolve it. But you see, in the cold regions, you're not going to walk away because it's cold outside. So you're forced to resolve it quickly so the two of you can continue on life. And so there is none is bad or right. You see, this is where people just jump to it's bad or it's right. No, purely any place where people have to associate and mingle, there is a higher level of conflict. Every marketplace, as I'm speaking to you right now, in every neighborhood in Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, two women are shouting at each other, fighting. Because we live among each other. The marketplace, the same thing.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I agree. But
so and then number two, when people are outdoors in a particular community, the noise level goes up. So you speak louder because everybody's talking of it. That's why we are so, yes. Have you seen our dance forms? It can only, places that is warm. We got to understand the things that became just because of evolution and environment than taking it personal. Then we can understand that, oh my God, this is why it disturbs the others who are not like that. Then you can begin to do something when you become aware of it. But
Exactly. Frank is correct. So the lady so you guys see where the not liking one's own nature comes into play. You acknowledge it and know, okay, we are this way. So it annoys other people who are not that way. So you become, aware of it and, try not to do that. But you cannot just keep going talking about, like, talking to yourself, negatively, negatively beating yourself down. That's what most blacks are doing. So it's like, instead of the loud noise, all that's, when somebody points it out, oh, you doing that because, you're racist. No, I mean, if you're amongst other blacks, wherever in the African market or in the hood, wherever, sure, it's normal over there for people to be loud. But when you are in around white people and other places, there's noise ordinances where that becomes abnormal, right? So you don't have to, talk to yourself negatively to be like, no, it's something wrong with me. It's the trauma from slavery. I mean, slavery have been over for over 150 years now, like Chisholm said here. When does the trauma end? 200 years, 400, 800? I guess she doesn't want it to end. So if you're doing negative talk to yourself, you would see your own nature as a problem, as something that is wrong, instead of just observing. Like, for example, like when I first moved to America and the places I moved to, white neighborhoods, right away I noticed that it's different from the neighborhoods I came from. But I didn't think in my head that, there's something wrong with the people, where I come from. Like, that's not what went in my head. I just know, hey, in this environment, this is how they interact with each other. This is how things are done. And when I go visit back home, I blend right in. Like, I go into the market and, like he said, these people are shouting and, and I mean, I just, go back to, where I left off at. And I'm like, all right, in the environment I came from in America, the people don't act this way. Over here, this is how they operate. But I'm not there thinking, oh, there's something wrong with the people. No, it's just in that environment. But when you leave that environment and you want to bring that same system into an environment that doesn't operate that way, that's when things go wrong. And you have to understand that.
When we are all condemning what we are, then we're not going to stop it. And you piss off the other people too, because they don't even know where it's coming from.
I think that's why I asked the question if you felt like trauma was also hereditary, because I believe if we're going to say behavior is hereditary, then trauma has to be, or it's behavior is taught, and so is.
Are you guys hearing this? My goodness, you guys are now seeing the problem. Imagine somebody fighting so hard to be traumatized. Who fights to say they inherited trauma? This is the problem here. So she's trying to fight so hard to say, no, the trauma was passed down. Okay.
Trauma, right? So
cultural things are copied.
Correct.
That's why blind people, they all smile the same way, because they have never mimicked. You see, the way I smile is not God created it. It's because I watched my people. And so slowly your muscles on your face forms after it. So blind people, they have never seen, that's why they don't dance, because they have never seen dance. Dance is copied in a culture. Nobody teaches you. That's it. So you can see blind people have to like think in their head while they are moving for them. But a child will copy a dance form before he's 9 years old because his eyes can see. So most of cultural behaviors are things you see and then you just copied it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. So I've just traveled to Caribbean, Africa, African Americans here, blacks in UK. There is no way anything can be that uniform unless our environment where we evolved impose this on us?
Or do we just travel and teach the same behavior? That's kind of what I'm getting to. You
Teach
know?
it?
Yes.
No, lady. Do you guys see this? And Adichiko, you're right. She never experienced slavery, but turns out to blame that she, because she hates herself. She's trying to make excuses. Are you guys hearing this? This lady is making all types of excuses. The man just told you you can't pass the trauma down. It's just your nature. It's the nature. But now, again, you notice what I've just said? So your ability to be able to, recognize your own nature, would help you read other people's nature and be able to get along with other people. But when one deliberately ignores their own nature and sees it as negative, that's where the self-hate comes in. And that hate is distributed and put on everybody else. Now everything is making sense. It's like, no. This is passed down from slavery. And now she's trying to say, okay, what Frank is talking about, he's giving example what he saw in the Caribbean, in different parts of Africa, the UK, here in America, showing that, okay, maybe this is Black nature, African nature. She's trying to say, oh, does that mean we are traveling around and teaching this to people? No, that's not how nature works, lady. It's innate. It's in you. It's up to you, like, to see it as negative or positive, but the environment naturally shapes that as well. Nature versus nurture. Like, you can't just sit there and think, oh, there's something wrong with it. When you try to translate it into another environment where that's not how they operate, then yes, then it becomes a problem. And you should be able to recognize that in yourself as a person. I mean, that's crazy. For example, I mean, if you come from an environment where there's people there, they're cannibals, they eat other people. You were raised there, and you guys thought it's normal. But then when you leave that environment, you have to also recognize that cannibalism is a problem in other parts of the world. It's not acceptable. So you have to graduate from being a cannibal. But if you take the cannibalism to different environment, now, buddy, you're committing a crime. Not that I'm encouraging you guys to be cannibals. Okay, let's hear more.
So if I am from
Do you guys think that's that example was too extreme? Put it in the chat.
South Africa and I moved to Houston, right? I'm now living in the US. I'm now going to take South African culture and my immediate family and teach it, or friends that I associate it with, or what have you. So that's why I'm saying I feel like behavior is more, or norms, I guess, cultural norms are more shared and cultivated through behavior based on the person who's bringing it, and constant association with it. It's the same reason why couples tend to begin to act alike. Well, if they like each other, they tend to act alike or copy the same mannerisms.
Yeah. Great. Well, we found a way through this one. It worked very well.
Yes.
It's a touchy topic. I have decided to take my mother's long advice that, Zanu, if the intention is pure, then by all means, speak your mind. My intention is pure. I am trying to get the new generation of my kind, many that are still my mentees, that only a redefinition of what people think it is would change us and make us accept ourselves. I've accepted myself as a Black man. Okay? I won't go to a restaurant where I know when I get a kick to laugh loud, I can't. I won't go there, period. Why are we killing ourselves and making ourselves with these things? I won't go there. I go to a place I know if I feel like chewing hard, I will chew. Now, but if the occasion required that I should be in a restaurant somewhere, I'll first learn something about it, and I'll comport myself to that. That's what human beings should do.
There's not enough adaptability, I think.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. And the way you've explained yourself, I can see why you and I will go through the same experiences I did back when we were in Asia. And you were saying every good thing about the place. Not because the people, it's because of who you are that made the Koreans and the Japanese treat you the way you, for the last 1 month you were there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ellen.
Awesome. You guys seen and heard that. I mean, great conversation, and I'm glad, she learned something. Sexy Red said, "You're not a black man. Put an African cut the crap." Oh, here we go. I guess this person is, he's not black. He is Caucasian. So whoever this person is missed the beginning of the conversation. So, but I'm glad Sexy Red proved my point that I was making, because some people would come and be like, "No, the Africans don't want to be black." But according to Sexy Red, Zanu is not black because he is African. So when an African person is saying to you, "I'm not black," they're not referring to the skin color. So maybe Sexy Red is referring to culture as well. But Zanu is black, Sexy Red. In case you haven't noticed, he is definitely black. Okay. We're not doing master's rules over here. I know that's what you're probably, dealing with. But guys, let me know what you think about the conversation. I enjoyed it. The lady, she comported herself well. Exactly. Africa is the black factory, but we got somebody coming from the cotton factory telling the black factory people they are not black. That makes sense. So great conversation. Like I said, the lady, even though she's sort of doing the trauma thing, but she was able to keep up a great conversation. She didn't get triggered and walked off like most, that get challenged for the first time, on their ideology of trauma, or, when they are fighting so hard, to be victims or be traumatized from slavery, she still was able to hold the conversation. So shout out to her, that she was able to keep up. I gotta give her a great applause for that. Exactly. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the show. And I will see you guys on the next one. Feel free to comment. For those of you that are coming to watch later, leave your comments as well. All right. And I will see you guys on the next one for sure. I'm out.
Lend thy ears to the Afridamus. Pay attention to the Afridamus. The true Saninke warrior. Natural is his intelligence. As a true professor. Solution to brainwash diseases. Sit back, relax, and hear the wisdom. Afridamus will heal your minds. Sit back, reflect, you'll find no objection. Afridamus will clear your doubts here. Always log on to the Afridamus. Lend thy ears to the Afridamus. Is the truth and no doubt the Saninke warrior.